Hello and welcome to episode 38 of Retro Recall the PS1 Chronicles, a show where we play and rank every PlayStation game ever created. My name is Jimmy, and as always, I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And we have a special guest this week. Welcome my girlfriend Amanda to the show.
Hello.
So going into this, I think it's pretty clear to say that we're just going to be referencing Stardew Valley a ton.
Yes.
This is why Amanda is on the podcast.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the developer of Stardew Valley took a lot of inspo from this game.
Yes. And I think if you didn't play this game that much, we would have had Kyle on because he plays just as much as we do.
Yes.
Kyle is going to be on enough episodes, so I think this is fine.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really like farming games, so this was definitely a struggle for me at times, for sure. But we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So before we get started, Amanda, I've asked every one of our guests this. So what is your favorite game?
Stardew Valley.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I like it. What do you mean? There's so much to do. It's like an endless game.
I'm on board with this already.
I tried it once and I was like, all right, I get why you would like this, but not for me.
Which I have a point about that. We'll get into it later. But I was thinking about it a lot today because you texted me and you said how miserable you were. I want to get your opinion on this later on when we get to it.
All right. Well, then with that, we might as well just hop right into the game. Harvest Moon Back to Nature was released on November 22nd, 2000, and it was the first Harvest Moon game not on a Nintendo console. So this is like the big debut for everybody who didn't have a Super Nintendo or N64. It was developed by Victor Interactive Software and published by Natsume Inc. in North America. Two things I've never heard of.
And like we said, it's pretty much just Stardew Valley. If you've seen Stardew Valley, if you've heard of Stardew Valley, this is Stardew Valley.
Very early version of it. I mean,
yes.
I don't know what the first one of these, probably the first Harvest Moon, which I think is on Super Nintendo. So I don't know. It's very primitive, I would say.
I agree. The developer of Stardew Valley definitely improved on a lot of things.
Yeah. It's funny because when Stardew Valley came out, it was always like, oh, he got his inspiration from Harvest Moon. And I was like, okay, I can, maybe there's a lot of differences. Jumping into this, I didn't realize he literally just took Harvest Moon and just improved upon everything in the game.
Yeah. Even some of the the dialect and stuff was very much Stardew Valley. I saw a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, Amanda, whenever you got into this, were you doing a lot of things out of instinct that just screwed you because you were used to it in Stardew?
I was definitely trying to go visit all of the villagers at first. And even if you go and it says it's locked, it doesn't tell you, oh, come back between this and that time. You just have to kind of figure it out. So I was definitely doing that, starting to clear off spots in my farm. And I did try to sell the weeds and things, which you don't get any money for those. So
yeah. So I guess, Jimmy, what was your first experience jumping into this?
So I think the biggest thing for me is that this game doesn't tell you anything. Like for you guys, I feel like it was easier because you've played so much Stardew Valley. You kind of knew what to start with. I mean, obviously you start with clearing out your farm, but I just don't know how anything works. I don't know how to get everything started, how to make money, how to just anything. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I already told her, I played this with a walkthrough.
Which is interesting. What is the walkthrough? What does it even tell you for this game?
So it literally tells you what you should be doing each day. One of them was okay, today you should go buy these seeds, plant them. You should do all your chores. Then you should go here and do this. It's basically a guide as to how to best optimize your time.
I get that.
Which I didn't follow it exactly. I kind of used it as a guideline, not literally point by point. But without it, I would not have been able to make any progress in this game.
Interesting. Because I guess I wouldn't say it's because we have so much experience with Stardew Valley and we've played it so much. I would just say it's kind of a general, if you play a farming game, that's kind of how it goes.
But Jimmy, you said you didn't like farming games, so I get that, I guess.
Yeah.
The one thing, I guess, just to clear it out ahead of time is you saying they give you no information. I do agree. If you jump into Stardew Valley, they kind of walk you through all the little features here and there. And as Amanda, you said, if you go up to a door, it will tell you, hey, open between these hours. Those are the little things that are a little bit more work in this game. So like all the information is in the manual. And I literally had to keep the manual open the entire playthrough because it gives you every bit of information. Like this is the most thorough manual we have ever seen in any game.
I should have looked at it. I just went straight to the walkthrough because I was like, I'm just going to have a bad time if I don't, you know?
Like I avoided it at first and it's like, it gives you the calendars for every season, when all the events are, how much each crop is and how long it takes and how much it's worth. It's like, this is all the information you ever need for this game.
I want to say, you know, it should be in the game, but as we've learned, that was kind of like the standard of this time. So you can't really criticize it for that.
Yeah, I did not look at the manual. I will say, whenever you do buy the seeds in the shop, you can click on, it does tell you, you just have to click on information and it will tell you like how much the seeds sell for. I don't believe it tells you how long it takes them to grow.
No, it doesn't. And I still don't know.
Oh, okay. It's just a lot of memorizing that way. And I'm like, there's no, I'm going to remember all this. So I just like found the most worthwhile crop and I just kept buying that one.
Yeah, I did cucumbers and turnips. And then at the end, I never finished it because I stopped playing, but I did some potatoes as well.
Oh, nice. And also for the hours, to go back to that real quick, there are little signs out in front of every single building. And if you click on each sign, it will tell you the hours and the days that they're closed.
Oh, I did not see that. I was just kind of visiting on assumption.
Yeah. I just happened to see it. I'm like, oh, what does this do? Oh, okay. There's all my information I need. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could just go to the beginning here and just kind of walk through our playthroughs, I guess, because that's kind of how this would work. I played this for roughly 3 hours. How long did both of you guys play for?
I played for a little over 3 hours, probably 3.5.
And I played for 5 hours.
Oh.
I'm just going to say I was into this. It was janky because I'm just so used to how smooth Stardew was. And some parts were frustrating, but I was just, if we didn't have to record, I'd keep playing today. And my hours, if we were recording tomorrow, I probably would have been at like 12 to 15 hours playing this game.
That's insane because I struggled every moment looking at the clock, like how much longer do I have to play?
So with you guys only going for 3 hours in the gameplay, how many days did I put you at?
I want to say 11 or 12 days total.
I think I was probably closer to 15 because I did sleep halfway through just to get money so that I could buy more farm animals. So when I was done with like my chores and picking up whatever things I could sell, I would sleep and end the day early.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting because with my 5 hours, I made it to 15 as well. So you were like speed running your days.
Yeah.
That's what I love about these games is that no two gameplays are exactly like if we all went in and played Stardew, we'd all have very different experiences because we're all doing very different things.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the appeal of these kind of games. I know that you both love them, so you're going to tell me why, but I don't like doing chores. Like so to begin here, like you start with no money and the only real thing you can do is there's a little area next to your farm where you can go get these like bamboo shoots and little blue flowers and you can go sell them every day for like a couple $100 or something.
I could never find the bamboo shoots. Where were those?
It's like a spa area. When you leave your farm and you're going, I guess it would be south, you hit that. There's like 4 different ways you can go. If you go left, you go up a set of stairs and there's like a spa area there. There's a couple of trees. There's a pond. And that's where those are.
Interesting. Because every time I've ever been up there, I've only seen the blue plant thing and the vegetable thing that grows. I don't know what that thing was.
That vegetable thing is the bamboo shoot.
Oh, is that what that? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what that was.
So you had them the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I would literally go every single day. Part of my routine was to go just grab those real quick and throw them in the box.
Well, you do start with what, 500?
Yeah, but by the time you buy some seeds and stuff, like it's gone. And then what are you supposed to do? Just like hang out while your plants grow?
Oh, true. I get what you're saying.
There's also the mines right there. I don't know if you went into those.
Yeah, so pretty much how I played this was, and also Amanda said she had animals. I want to get back to that in a second. I pretty much spent my first 8 days clearing the farm, which was balance between planting and taking care of the plants and cleaning out the rest of the farm. Days where it rained, I would do some clearing out, and then I'd spend all my time in the mines because there's no way to hold any items from what I found. First of all, so going into from Stardew, the backpack size on here is so small. It's frustratingly small.
Yes.
But you can buy an upgrade at the supermarket.
For 5,000 gold.
Yeah, it is 5,000 gold.
So what I would do is I'd go into the mines, I'd get 3 different minerals, and then I'd come back, throw them in the bin, go back, and I'd just keep repeating that process because there's nowhere to store them. So I just had to sell them, and that's how I was making all my money.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I actually didn't discover there was a mine until today.
Oh.
Because, well, you could easily miss it if you don't know where it is.
That's true.
I did not go into the mine. I was focused on my chickens and my plants.
I had 1 chicken and a horse, by the way.
How did you afford animals?
So I was pretty much just planting and selling that and going kind of scavenging and selling literally everything. Everything I picked, everything I found, I sold it. And I just kind of saved my money in between buying the plants.
Interesting. And then, the horse is a random event too that you can get.
Yeah. I mean, just to go back to that point, selling your produce and stuff, you get a lot of money for that. The cucumbers, you get so much money.
When it finally blooms.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I was buying stuff. And so for the horse, you have to buy a brush for the horse.
Yep.
Which is $800. But I don't know what the point of the horse is. Is it just cool, I have a horse?
Can you maybe ride it around?
No.
For faster. Oh, okay.
Well, it does say it's a pony. So I wonder if you can ride it later on when it grows up.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's a huge thing in Stardew is you get your horse and you get to fly around everywhere.
Yeah, so you probably have to build up your relationship with it and have so many hearts with it, and then it'll let you ride it.
I just would go brush it every day. I think you have to do that, and then you pet it, and you're here, you're a good boy or something, and then that's it.
So the biggest thing from what I read, again in the manual, is that there's the horse race event. And if you brush your horse all the time and you talk to the horse all the time, you can get it trained up to the point where you can actually race your horse.
I never got to the horse race.
I didn't either.
Was that probably... Oh, okay. I don't know if it was a couple days after we stopped or what.
That's the biggest downside with this game, and I wish I would have thought about this sooner, was the amount of time we spent, we didn't really see anything about this game. It's just... If you're playing from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed in the game, it's about a half hour. So you play for 1 hour, you're only getting 2 days done, and that's not that much time.
Yeah, I thought about that. Should we have treated this like we treat RPGs and maybe take some time? But at the same time, I feel like I already know everything this game has to offer besides the random events.
That's true.
And I know you can marry people probably and stuff like that, but I just don't know that playing this for 20 hours or 10 hours or whatever would have really changed my opinion. It probably would have made it worse because I would have had a horrible time.
Well, usually with these kind of farming games, as you progress, you get things that make it easier. For example, again, in Stardew, you get the ability to make sprinklers. So you're not watering your plants every single day, every single plant. The sprinklers do it for you. You just harvest it when it's time. So I don't know if this game has those kind of things that you get the longer you play. But I feel like if it did, you probably wouldn't have had such a horrible time because it becomes less tedious the further along you get.
Well, you can upgrade all of your tools at the blacksmith. I didn't do it, but you can also upgrade your watering can. So I'm wondering if maybe the upgrade lets you hit a bunch more tiles or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably what it was because I think that's how it is in Stardew as well.
Yeah. It's with every upgrade, you can just hold the button, and when you release, it will do the big square to cover all the tiles. But to your point, there are no automation type upgrades in this game. It's
okay.
From what I could tell, like Jimmy said, what we saw is what we get. The only things is that we didn't get really was the cows or the cheap, and then for that you got to buy additional tools to get those things.
I don't know. The tedium of watering all the plants was just so frustrating to me. Like, I was hesitant to even do the potatoes after I already had 4 little plots because I'm like, this is another thing that I have to do every day in the game. Like, I have to water all of these tiles every day. And I'm like, I just don't. Why is this fun? Like,
You're
I don't
a
like this.
farmer.
I don't want to be a farmer. I want to, if there was a thing like Stardew where I can go in the mines and kill stuff, see, that'd be fun.
So you're all about the battle and you don't want to deal.
Mhm.
See that? Oh, there you go. If you guys ever played Stardew together, she can take care of the farm. You can go into the mines and kill things, and then you both win.
I'm waiting for him to get on board.
I bought it. I just haven't played it.
Oh, okay. Which, I mean, the part that, like, even after you upgrade stuff, you still have to do the manual work. That is a negative in my books. Like, and I'll keep saying it. Like, it just makes me realize, because the reason why Stardew Valley was created was because he wanted it to be made the way he would have made it, and that's how Stardew was born. So I would imagine that he had the same complaints we are having right now, and it's like, well, why can't we just have something that does this automatically?
I have more complaints, but I do want to say, by the end of this, I will say I was having a better time because I was getting in the rhythm of things. Like, you know, I had the routine down. So, like, I think maybe I might like Stardew Valley as more so of like a podcast game, or like, you know, I'm doing something else while I'm doing this. But I don't know that I could put my full attention to it like I did with this. You know what I mean?
I get that.
I mean, I play it on my Switch right now. I do have it on my PC, but I haven't started it there yet. I do know there's a 1.6 update with Stardew. I don't have access to it on the Switch. But I will lay on our couch. We'll be watching TV, and I will play Stardew Valley while we're doing it. So it is kind of, you know, sometimes I'll listen to a podcast and play it.
That's what I mean. I've rarely ever seen you sit there and play it and only play it. Like, you're always like doing something else while you're playing it. And I think that's why I had such a hard time with this, was I was just playing it.
Gotcha.
And that makes sense.
You need to be overstimulated to enjoy the game. Okay.
Back to my complaints then, since you want me to do this. It's just so slow from the text speed, like, to everything. The text is so slow, you can't skip it.
You can't skip
You
it.
can't change anything. You're just like, every single time I talk to someone, I know what they're going to say. Every time I go to the store and buy something, I have to skip through the same dialogue, and it just goes super slow. I can't get out of it. I can't do the auto fill the whole thing up and then just move on. I can't do that.
Yeah, I have the same complaints with Jeff at the store. Whenever I'm trying to buy a seed, a bag of seeds, I have to go through 8 dialogue boxes to buy one seed. I'm like, Jeff, please, I'm trying to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Like, stop trying to like guilt trip me into buying something just because I can't afford it right now.
He's like, oh, are you sure? Jeff, I know you're in debt because you let people have, I don't know if you guys got this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's in debt because he keeps letting people like put stuff on their tabs, and his wife is like, you got to stop doing this.
I wish you would have let me do that.
Oh, I know. I was like, can I take it for free, please? I'll pay you back. The speed at which the NPCs move as well is so incredibly fast. Like, you have to run them down to even talk to them.
Yeah. And that's just like their general speed with everything, I guess, besides their dialogue, because it's so slow.
But you can also hold X, I think, and speed up the text a little bit.
Yes, I was doing that, but I mean, I don't think it was fast enough to be useful.
It's not enough. Not enough.
And additionally, a big change from Stardew is that they give you a time limit in this game.
Yeah.
So they give you 3 years to play the game, and that's it. And I feel like that's a little ridiculous and not enough time.
So I looked, and you can still keep playing. It's just there's not going to be any more like events or anything. Like, you could still keep running your farm. It's just the story, in quotes, is over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the game doesn't just end.
I thought that was the case. Was it just ended?
Well, I guess if your farm isn't up to par for the villagers, maybe they kick you out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what it seems like. You have to start over and do better, which
Yeah.
I would quit if that happened to me. If I played this game for that long.
They were like, actually, we don't like your farm. You have to leave. You're like, oh, I'm never playing this again.
There's no way I'm investing 3 years of the game into this again.
Back into my complaints. Another one is the grid-based movement doesn't feel right.
That was one of mine as well. It's awkward. I'm running up the mountain path and I'm going back and forth because it's a straight line or it's a curve or something, and I'm on a grid, so it doesn't work like that.
Yep.
It's not as smooth as it should be.
I was thinking if they have curves like that, they should have just made everything 90-degree angles to make it a little bit better.
Yes.
It very much reminds me of those parts in Persona, like where you're like walking around in like the top-down view.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely.
Very frustrating. And like there were times where I'm trying to water my plants and I just like mess it up. And there was like one time I accidentally destroyed a plant. There was a couple times where I missed the thing you throw your stuff into sell. I missed it. And if you throw things and you don't throw it in there, they're gone forever.
Yeah. I did that with there's a lady up by the river and I got her flowers as a gift. And I like ran up and I went to give her the flowers, but I missed and I threw them right in the water in front of her. I'm like, well, that is not how that works.
This is what I think of you.
You see these flowers I got for you? Gone.
They're gone. No, I and there's been several times where I accidentally hit the wrong button while holding something and then I throw it and break it. I'm like, damn it, I needed that.
Yeah, I've definitely done that. I don't even know what button I hit. I hit the wrong one and I ate one of the cucumbers and I was like, damn, they got me. But I mean, I don't even know what the point is of you being able to eat something since you don't have like an energy bar or a health bar or anything. So I'm not sure why that's a feature.
Well, I mean, there is technically energy. Yeah, it's very frustrating that they don't tell you what your energy is until he does an animation.
Yeah, he like wipes the sweat from his brow.
Well, there was a couple times in the beginning that I just kept going and then I ended up in the hospital.
Yep.
Did that happen to you?
No.
So the thing where he falls to the ground and like wipes himself and gets back up, that is the signal that you should stop. Like where he's just wiping his head, that's fine. You can keep going. But if he falls on the ground, you have to stop, or else if you keep going, you collapse and you end up in the hospital. And then the next day, you lose like 6 hours of time. So you don't wake up till noon. On that topic, though, I also found that I was randomly oversleeping sometimes. Did that happen to you guys?
I was waiting to see if anyone was going to bring this up.
No, I was up at 6 a.m. every day.
Sometimes I'd wake up at 8, sometimes 10, and be like, oh, I overslept. I'm like, but what is the trigger for that?
Overworking.
Yep. It's overworking while it's raining,
Oh.
which is a weird little feature, but I also had to read that too. It's, yeah, if you work too hard in the rain or in the snow, then you'll sleep in the next day.
Interesting.
So pretty much what I would do in that situation is I would overwork myself in the rain. And then I'd go up to the hot springs and sit in there for about 2 hours. And then I'd be fine for the next day.
That's a good move. Yeah, I mean, seems like a lot of the things I'm saying could have been alleviated if I just read the manual, which I should have. So I'm not going to be as negative with the score overall, I think, just because a lot of these things were on me that I didn't find, you know?
I would have missed a lot of this if I didn't decide to start looking into the manual. I was kind of just expecting them to explain more to you, considering it is like there's a lot of mechanics into this game. The fact that they didn't explain anything, I'm like, there has to be more information on here. Like, because I was stuck with the horse brush. I had no clue where to find it. I went down to the farm thinking they would have it. So luckily in the manual, they say, go to the blacksmith for that. I'm like, cool, thank you.
Yeah, I found that by chance. I checked the supermarket first, and then I went there to the blacksmith because I hadn't been there yet. And I'm like, well, I guess it's a tool technically, so it makes sense why it's there. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I get why the game would do that.
True.
I don't know. Cozy games like this are not for me. It's just not my vibe. I'm not a cozy, you know?
I mean, in your defense, cozy games now are definitely different from when did this come out?
2000.
Okay, so yeah, around 25 years in the future, things are different.
Did you guys, how did you feel about the orientation of the character and how everything looked?
I think the graphics are fine. Like, they're not bad. They're not great. Like, for what this is, they're fine.
I agree. I know that this probably wasn't like a priority in the 2000s, but being able to pick, you know, whether you were a boy or a girl would have been cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you're the boy from the farm, Amanda. I was like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah, I felt like it was, like you said, it's fine, but it also felt a little too zoomed in on your character. Like, if I wish they would have pulled the camera back a tiny little bit so you can see more of your farm at one time.
Definitely would have been beneficial.
Well, you can do that thing where when you're at your farm, if you hit the map, you can look at your whole farm.
Yeah, it's a good way to see an overview, but just like while you're playing the game, it would have been nice to see more, I think.
No, I agree. And I think that's just your bias from Stardew Valley because that is more zoomed out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything I'm going to say is going to be my bias towards Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that would be just constantly brought up during this. So, I mean, it's fine.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it took so much inspiration from this game. All of our complaints were kind of addressed in Stardew Valley as a game itself.
Yes.
Well, here's a question. Is there anything that this game does better than Stardew Valley? A single thing, anything.
I think the silence is quite deafening here.
I think that's telling enough. I mean, Stardew Valley was made as an improvement on this game, so I don't think there's anything that this game does better.
I was just curious because
Yeah.
with this being the inspiration, I don't know if there's anything that maybe he disagreed with or something, you know?
I'm thinking, I feel like there's one little tiny thing where I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of nice. But honestly, the fact that I can't remember it is probably telling in its own that it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I also didn't think the music was that good, by the way. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't like, I feel like with this kind of game, they need to be bangers. Like, I need to be like loving these songs because I'm just hearing them all the time.
So I don't know if you can agree with this, Amanda. Did that song on the farm not sound exactly like it's from Stardew Valley?
Yes, 1,000%.
I'm like, not only did he just outright steal this game and make everything better, he just used the music too.
Yeah, there's probably subtle differences so that he like wouldn't get in trouble, but I mean, even, you know, all the villagers having certain times you can enter their houses, a lot of the dialogue's the same, the mechanics are the same, random events that happen once you get to a certain relationship level with the villagers. It's Stardew Valley from 25 years ago.
And also you mentioned about how like this started on the NES or Super Nintendo, sorry. I went back and I watched that gameplay. Honestly, if you would have showed me the Super Nintendo gameplay, I would have thought it was like the beta version of Stardew Valley. That's how similar it is in graphics.
I almost feel like, was it top down or was it like isometric like this game?
No, it is top down like Stardew.
I was going to say, I would actually have preferred that for this game as well because
Yep.
it just allows you to see more, like you were saying. I just think that is better for this kind of game because you want to be able to get a lay of the land.
Mhm.
Like, you don't want to be constantly moving a little bit so you can see a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
Directionally, I felt like I struggled a little bit with just kind of getting accustomed to the way that you move around in the world because it was isometric. I don't know if you guys had that problem.
We're kind of like seasoned professionals
Okay.
in this because
So I was in the same boat. So a similar, you brought up Persona and the way it moves. And that I had to turn my controller a specific way so that I didn't get confused on which way the buttons worked. I had to do the same thing here where my controller was like slanted so I knew which way the arrows went. Wasn't until about like day 8 or something that I found out you can change your controls. So in your house, there's a bookshelf. If you go to the bookshelf, it says, oh, do you want to change configurations or like there's something else, like explain some stuff. And you can go to change configurations and they had literally up moves your guy up, down moves your guy down, and all that.
I wouldn't have even thought to look there, if I'm being honest.
I did explore everything in the house, the calendar, the TV, the bookshelf. I did see that. I didn't, mess around with it. I didn't want to mess anything up with my game, but there's definitely a couple more features that if you don't explore, you miss them.
Yep.
Like, did you know about the TV? Like watching the...
I watched it the first day and then I ignored it the rest of the time.
Oh, man.
What about the calendar?
I looked at it one time.
Okay. There are events in the town square, which again, Stardew took that as well. That you have certain, I'm not sure if you can buy things there. I didn't get that far, but there's like different fairs and celebrations to go to.
I did go to the one where it's like little girls dancing or something.
Yeah, the goddess one.
Yeah, the goddess spring.
Which that would have been like the Tulip Festival or something from Stardew.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any point to that other than like, oh, I'm at the festival?
In this game, no.
Okay.
Yeah. They're definitely in Stardew. Like we said, any complaint that you have with this game, he kind of addressed it. So
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't mess around with any of the like relationship stuff because so early on in the game, I felt like I never had enough time. And then at the end, I felt like I had so much time.
Oh, really?
But I think it was because in the beginning, one, I was running out of energy really quick because I was clearing things out and doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was oversleeping a lot and I didn't know what was triggering that. So the combination of those two things, I just felt like I never had enough time in the day. And time does move pretty quick in this game. So I just didn't really feel like it mattered. And then by the time I kind of realized what was going on, I was almost done playing. And I'm like, I don't really want to get into that because I'm not going to keep playing.
I get that.
So personally, I don't start focusing like in a farming game in Stardew on the relationships until I have my farm kind of set up so that I can water my plants, go do relationship stuff, and I'm not worrying about getting everything started. So I feel like if you did play this for a longer amount of time, you would have gotten there eventually to do the relationship quests and everything.
Especially in the wintertime, because when you can't plant anything, you have so much time in the day to do literally anything you want.
It did mention eventually you get, what did he call it? Like a hot garden or something. So a greenhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Jeff mentioned that to me multiple times at the grocery store. So, you would plant stuff in your greenhouse and then go do wintertime things because you can't garden on your farm or you won't have farm chores to do.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I just, I get this from Persona as well, and a lot of games like this where I get an anxiety kind of feeling where I'm like, am I going to forget to do something? Am I going to miss something? Like, am I going to skip a day and then I'm suddenly fucked because I can't do this thing? Like, that's just another reason why I don't like games like this is I always feel like I'm going to ruin it for myself by not playing it the right way.
I definitely get that because that's how I was when I first started Stardew Valley, where I'm like hyper stressing about every tiny little decision I make and how I do everything. But then eventually I learned like, it's just the day is yours. Just do what you want to do. And obviously you have some chores in the beginning of the day, but that's why I loved playing Stardew so much is because there's no right or wrong way to play the game. Like obviously, yeah, you can kill your plants if you don't take care of them. That's about the extent of it. Like if you miss these random events, so what? It doesn't really add, like it will add to it if you see it, cool, but it doesn't take away if you miss it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And that would be my thing to overcome when I do eventually play Stardew Valley. But I just kind of wanted to explain why I don't like these kind of games
No,
a
I
little
get
bit
that,
more
yeah.
and not just talk shit the whole time.
One thing that I will say that I was like, oh, was they offer you when you go to the poultry farm and probably to the other farms too, they offer you animal medicine.
I saw
I'm
that
sorry,
too.
someone's gonna get sick? From what? I know. I was like, excuse me? Someone's gonna get sick? I was like, my chickens.
So does that mean your chickens and your horse can die?
Oh, that's a good question.
Actually, you know what? Yes. Because if you look when you hit pause and you look on your main menu, it like lists you have 0 of this animal, 1 of this animal, whatever. At the bottom, there's a headstone with wings on it.
Oh, is that what that was?
That
Oh,
is
man.
distressing
That just adds
to
way
me.
more stress to this game than I would want it to.
Yes. I was like, wait, animal medicine? And then I saw that. I was like, no.
Well, I wonder if you just stop feeding your chickens, like how long till they die,
Probably a couple days.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I'm sure they get to the point where you get probably a dialogue box that's like, oh, this animal's sick. You can give them medicine or they'll die.
I wonder if there even would be a dialogue box. I wonder if it's just you have to see them acting differently to know.
Yeah, that's true.
Knowing this game, I'm sure it's that.
I just meant because it mentions the oversleeping thing where your character is actually like, oh, I overslept.
True.
I could see it being like, oh, you should go check on your chicken or something, or
Yeah.
like something like that.
And if you don't, they die. That's messed up. I don't like that. I don't want my chickens to get sick.
One nice thing though is you only have to buy 1 chicken because then you can just keep incubating the eggs and you just have more chickens.
Oh, nice.
It probably takes time and you have to wait for them to like mature. Like it'll start out as a baby chick and over time but I mean, if you have the time to do that.
I mean, as the game goes on, I would never buy a chicken again because why would you? I mean, you can just take the egg, hatch it, and then you have more chickens.
Yeah.
I would imagine the same applies to all the other animals too. Just they will make babies and then you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know how they would handle that.
I don't either.
I don't know. None of us bought a cow or a sheep. So
Where do you buy them? I didn't even see that.
at the other farm, I think it's the Yodel farm or something.
Oh, where you get the horse?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. You can. I went there to see. They're like 5,000 gold for one cow. I was like, damn. Okay. Let me try chickens.
Now, that's a great segue into like how expensive everything is in this game. I know, at least in Stardew, yeah, the backpack is a big expense to upgrade, and you'll eventually get there. But in this, the way you can store things, like the minerals we were talking about, there's nowhere to store. You can't craft items in this game. You can upgrade your house. And then when you upgrade your house, there's cupboards that you have, and you can put things in the cupboards, and that's your storage.
Interesting.
In order to upgrade your house, you have to first upgrade your hen house for your chickens, which is like, I think 5,000, 6,000 gold. Then to upgrade your house, that's another 4,000, 5,000 gold. I'm like, this is going to take me at least a whole year to be able to get enough money to do all this.
Yeah. It was definitely, like I said, the cows were 5,000 gold. I was just trying to kind of get the animals so that I could start, making more profits. But I think they want you to be planting on your farm and growing things before you get to the animals. So
I get that, but with no automation,
yeah,
it just seems like now you're spending so much time in your day to do that. And that just brings back the 3-year time limit. It was like, I feel like I'm wasting more time now, and it makes it seem almost more impossible to reach that milestone.
agreed, definitely.
Well, what's crazy is in this walkthrough, it tells you like what day you should be buying these things. Like it's like, I think day 5, go get the horse. You should have enough now to buy the brush. Day 11, your cucumbers are ripe. Sell them and buy the chicken. This is like what this guide is recommending to do in that order. So I kind of did that pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I think the game intends you to get that stuff pretty early.
Maybe, I guess. I'm seeing you also have this very specific pattern for your crops. Did you do that after you realized the problem of doing a full square?
So the guide tells you to do it that way, and I ignored that.
Okay.
And then I found out that you can't walk over the crops. So you have to make it so that every single one is accessible.
Yep. I was so annoyed.
And I
by
lost like 1 or 2 of each kind of crop I had because I didn't know that.
Once everything started growing in, I saw that. I'm like, wait, no, I can't access this middle plant? Like, that's the worst design ever. Like, allow me to walk through to get to it.
Yeah, and I will say I never did figure out you get 9 seeds in a bag. How do you get to be able to plant them all? Because even when I had like a straight line, all of them would be accessible. It planted like 2 plots and then my seeds were gone.
Well, look at how mine are right here. So I have it in this little square, and if you go in the center and you just do it, it does them all.
Okay, so it's based around you. Okay. That was one of my questions because I never figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Because you get 9 seeds, if you stand right in the middle and throw it up, it does it does the 3x3 square perfectly.
Okay.
I definitely screwed that up a few times, standing on the wrong block when I tossed my seeds, and I lost a whole row because of it.
Yeah, Amanda, why don't you talk about what you did when you first started with the seeds?
What do you mean? I was just planting in a line.
Whenever you just had one block and then you use the seed on the one block.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you shouldn't do that.
I did do that. That was one of the times where he was like, hey, listen, I know this thing.
So to be fair, I tried very much not to talk to her when she was playing.
I was going to ask how much you guys talked.
Yeah, when I saw her doing that, I was like, listen, I got to stop this. I can't let her keep going down this path.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But besides that, like my computer is set up in the living room. So he'd be sitting in the living room watching me. And I'm like, stop looking at my farm. Stop it.
But I mean, and that goes back to the point, like that's your muscle memory of Stardew coming into play of, oh, I can plant on this one block and I'm fine.
yeah, like 1 seed per plot. That would make sense. And then the seed bag was gone, and I was like, oh. Uh-oh.
Just lost so much money on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Jimmy, you said you went to the mines, but Amanda, you didn't?
I didn't know. I was focused on more selling and everything. So I did explore, but I guess I must have missed them. I don't even know where they were at. Oh, right above.
Yeah, it's right behind the waterfall.
Okay.
I had to look up where it was because I didn't know.
See, I went there at nighttime and I didn't see it. And then I went back in the daytime and I was like, oh, what's this thing over here? It's interesting. It's not like Stardew where you have to break rocks. Instead, you have to use the hoe to mine out the dirt and you'll find minerals and you find a ladder to go down.
Yeah, you'll see in my footage, I went there with a hammer thinking that I was going to be breaking rocks. I didn't bring the hoe. And I was like, oh, damn. You see me standing here, like, realizing it right now, like, God damn it.
Yeah, and I thought, like, maybe it's something you can get to later and they give you a mining, like, pickaxe thing.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the description of the hoe and it's like, oh, it can also be used in the mine. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Oh, okay. See, I was expecting you would have to go either get a pickaxe or someone to be like, hey, can you go get these minerals for me? Since I didn't go there.
I find it actually very annoying the way it's set up because so you go there and use the hoe and you just do it randomly wherever until you find minerals or you find the ladder. Like there's no method to it. There's nothing. You're just trying to figure it out. And I just don't really like that.
I mean, just like Stardew.
I mean, in Stardew, you don't just kind of dig around on the ground. You have rocks that you break and there will be a ladder under there. However, they don't tell you which one. So you could have 50 rocks you have to break before you find the ladder to get to the next level.
So it's literally the same thing. All right, I got it.
The one thing I don't like is that I went down about 10, 11 floors before because I was getting lucky where the first block I would hit is the ladder. So I just kept going down and down and down. And the environment never changes. It's just still the same thing over and over again, which is kind of disappointing. I wish like things would change. Or maybe it does if you keep going farther down. But
so I saw in the walkthrough that if you keep going down in the mines, you find like a berry. Did you find this?
no. Well, maybe I dug something up and he ate immediately. And it kind of looked like a
That's
berry.
what it was.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I also found a berry. If you go up to the top of the mountain and you try and cut down the tree talks to you and it goes, I've been here for 100 years. Please don't cut me down.
Aw, that's sad.
You can also choose to still cut it down if you want. I didn't.
Oh my God.
If you choose not to, then it gives you a berry. And I think the berry gives you some kind of upgrade to your energy.
That would make sense. That's kind of how it is in Stardew is you get certain fruits and then you immediately eat them. There's no choice. And it gives you more energy or more health.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what it did. It didn't tell me or say anything at all when I ate it. I'm assuming the same for you whenever you ate the
Yeah,
one.
he just dug something and put it in his mouth. I'm like, what the fuck was that? It's just something red.
Just eating rocks.
Also in the mines, you can find money, which is very nice.
I never found money.
I think you may have. You just didn't realize you did, depending on how much you were in the mines.
Oh, wait. So, yeah, you pick it up and you just put it immediately away, right?
Immediately in your backpack. I'm like, what the fuck are you storing that you're hiding from me? Like, I don't know what this is.
No, you're right. I did find some.
No explanation. Just I'm eating this. I'm keeping this.
Exactly.
You're like, what was that?
Yeah, what do you got there, buddy?
So I had to like dig into like the graphic that I faintly saw for 2 frames. And I had to look and figure out what I was even doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you could find it, but I just, I don't know. I messed with the mines a little bit. I definitely would have made it part of my daily routine if I kept playing, for sure. Just like how you did.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to just make some money when you have some time. But I don't know. I'm kind of out of notes here. I don't know if you have anything really to add.
A big frustration for me is that your pickup for your crops is at 5 p.m.
Yeah, strange.
That, and you also don't get the money until you go back to your farm.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yes. If you're away from your farm when it's 5 p.m., you don't get anything until you go back onto your farm and then it will give you the money like in your account.
Interesting. I never paid attention to that.
I mean, it makes sense because it's like he's leaving the money for you. It's not like magically being put into your bank account.
I get that.
But still, like, it's kind of annoying.
It is. Again, I'm sorry if this is getting annoying to hear for the audience, but in Stardew, it's at night. When you go to bed, that's when things get collected. there's so many times. I'm pretty sure if you toss something in the bin after 5, is it lost forever or does it cycle into the next day?
I was going to say, I believe it is the next day because I've definitely sold some stuff like after 5 p.m.
Well, it's also like they say, he doesn't come on certain holidays or whatever.
I think it's Sundays and...
Yeah. Sundays and holidays. And so you can just put anything you want in there and he'll get it the next time he's there.
That makes sense. I mean, it's fine. I just hate that there's a time limit of, I have to be there by 5 if I want to hurry up and get extra money instead of waiting at nighttime.
Yeah, definitely not ideal because, again, if you're doing all your chores in the morning, that takes up half your day before you can go, forage a little bit and get stuff.
Well, I ran into this problem when I was trying to get the chicken for the first time. Like, I had enough money, but I had to wait till the end of the day to make the final bit that I had to get it.
Yeah.
But then the place is closed, so I have to wait till the next day to go buy the chicken.
Yep.
They are only open 12 to 4.
Yeah, she's weak. She's having a hard time.
She's ill, and her husband is out trying to find her medication.
Is that true?
Yeah, she says it.
Yeah, I got that dialogue box too.
She said, my husband's out. It's not a happy thing. I was like, oh, okay.
Jeez.
I know. And then her kids are like not very happy. The one's name is Rick, and he hates this other kid in the town. That's all he talks about when you talk to him. Because I was trying to figure out who to buy these chickens from. I'm like, okay, it's not Rick. It's not Potpourri, the daughter. I was like, I know.
What a name.
I was like, where do I buy these chickens from? The lady just keeps telling me she's sick. I was like, where's your husband? Do I buy them from him?
Well, didn't you tell me that the guy in the church said something weird too?
Oh, yeah. I think when you're touring the town, the mayor tells you like, oh, he's a little strange. So I walked into the church because I'm just exploring, and I go up to him and the dialogue box says, hello, the church has a basement. I sleep there. I was like, oh, and that's it. That's all he said. I was like, oh, okay. I got to get out of here.
I do like it for the fact of like, it is still like a living world in a way, much like Stardew. Each character is going through their own thing, and it's not always happy-go-lucky. There is a lot of dark stuff that happens too. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's definitely better than a happy-go-lucky town. Everyone's having a good time.
Oh, I need that weirdness in this kind of game, or else I would really just be miserable.
Like the pastor who sleeps in the basement.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to see the little creatures that live behind the church?
Excuse me?
What?
Oh, you didn't see these?
No. Are they like kind of similar to the Juginos?
I think that I was trying to figure out what they were called.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the Juginos. So if you go up to the church, you can turn right before you enter the church and go behind it, and there's a little small house. And inside are like these little elves, and you can talk to them, and you can hire them to work on your farm or something like that.
Oh, I did. I saw it in the menu. It had all their names.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's what those were. I didn't know if that was something that came like the further you got in the game, or...
Nope.
So we have weird little elves too. Cool.
And maybe that's your automation there, is you just get them to water your plants.
Yeah, because in Stardew, they will harvest for you, but you have to work towards like earning them to live on your farm. It's not like a hiring situation.
And that takes a long time to get to that point.
Now, did you hire any of them?
I didn't know. I was trying to save up for my house extension so I could finally store things inside. And the only thing that kind of annoyed me was I wasn't allowed to fish. That was frustrating.
Yeah, it says that you have to go to the dock early in the morning to get the fishing rod.
Oh, wait, so you can get it just right out of the gate?
Yeah, according to the walkthrough, it says, I think 7 to 10 a.m. you have to go to the dock and he'll give you a fishing rod.
Oh, well, then I was just always way too late getting to the dock.
Again, with these strange times, like 7 to 10 a.m., 12 to 4, you just kind of have to, I guess, either go read the signage or get lucky if you're not.
I don't know where it says the whole fishing thing anywhere. Like there would not be a sign because it's just some random dude fishing. I didn't go do it because I always did my chores as soon as I woke up.
Exactly.
So like by that time, everything is done. So you have to just wake up and immediately sprint to the fucking dock to get it.
Which you would have to know about it first.
Exactly.
Are you sure it was some random guy and it wasn't like The guy who runs the docks?
I went to the docks once and there was nobody there, so I didn't know there was a guy that ran the docks.
Well, maybe it wasn't the right time.
I mean, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to compare the fishing system to Stardew. I kept going to the docks, but I must have just always been late and not in the time window.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what the fishing system is like for this game. If, we're assuming everything was improved upon in Stardew.
Yeah.
Because the fishing system in Stardew it's fine, but it can definitely be frustrating.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what this one is.
Well, if you're complaining about it in Stardew, then I got bad news.
I know. That was my thought as well.
Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I can't really remember what it was at this point. So I think I'm all out of notes.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of went through everything that we experienced in this game. I'm sure there's more little things that pop up as it goes on, but I truly do feel like we saw what this game has to offer. I don't feel like I missed anything.
No, I think it's just the most is just the events throughout the year. I think that's the most we would have missed. I mean, playing for 5 hours or 3 hours in Amanda's case and not even getting through spring yet. That's a lot of hours you got to put in.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably missing some relationship dialogues with, becoming friends with people and, like you said, the seasonal events. But besides that, I feel like you get what you get.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to read these reviews now and then we can go with our scores. So think about your score, Amanda.
Okay.
So the game got mostly positive reviews at the time. I pulled the lowest review I could find and the highest review I could find just to give a nice spread. Game Informer gave it a 6.75 out of 10, and they said, I have no doubt that this game will attract a rabid cult of followers who succumb to its quirky charms. I will not be one of them. Maybe it's the fact that growing up on a farm, I've done enough chores for a lifetime. To add to my boredom was the slow pace at which the game unfolds. There are only 2 or 3 events each month, and you must spend the rest of the time working and talking to the slack-jawed yokels that populate the village.
Damn. He really doesn't like the villagers.
Which I get if you grew up as a farmer, sure, I can get why you wouldn't like this.
Probably not the best choice for that person.
Yeah. It's like a guy who's like a train driver. I forget their name. Conductor.
Yeah.
He's a train conductor. And then he goes home to play Train Simulator.
Yeah.
So actually, this reminded me of what I brought up at the beginning of the show. How you also said, this isn't your type of game. You don't like doing chores. The fact that you have to go and do chores, you were annoyed of. So why is it that a game like this annoys you, but you like Persona 4 and Persona 5 where you have to go to school and you have to study and you have to go to a job? I feel like it's almost the same exact concept.
So let me tell you why. First of all, Persona is all about the story and the interactions with the characters, right? Most of the stuff you're doing is to farther increase your stats. So working is increasing a stat, school is increasing a stat, that all goes back into the combat. It's all a big system that weaves together, that there's reasons for doing everything. You're not just farming to farm.
I would argue that you're increasing your farming stats by doing all these chores. By feeding the animals, by doing those daily chores, you're increasing your relationship with them. It is very relationship based in Stardew Valley. I'm not sure if that was taken from this game or not, but you only get to do certain things, have certain things, have access to certain things the farther you get in your relationships.
I mean, I hear you. I just think that, I don't know, it might just be the fact that it is farming and not whatever Persona is. But
a little anime game.
Yeah, anime game. And I also think it's the whole part of Persona having that vibe and the aesthetic and everything about it just really pulls it together for me that even if something is a little annoying, at the end of the day, it's going to benefit me in a different way. And I'm enjoying my time. Whereas with this, I'm just, going to spend 5 minutes walking around watering every tile. That just is so much more tedious to me than going to a job in Persona, doing a quick time event or something, or picking a dialogue choice and then moving on.
Doing the quizzes in school.
Yeah, I mean, looking up the answer to the quiz on my phone in school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
GameSpot gave it an 8.3 out of 10 and had this to say at the end of their review. While impatient gamers may want to avoid the considerable time investment required, those looking for a game with hours and hours of highly addictive, non-violent gameplay should find a comfortable chair and a copy of Harvest Moon Back to Nature. Be warned, you'll find yourself saying, I'll play just one more day, more times than you can count.
I think that sums up me. The amount of times like, okay, one more day.
Yeah.
Especially in this and Stardew. I'll say one more day about 20 times. And I'm like, I need to go to bed because it's now like 1 a.m.
I just need to get to like the Harvest Moon Festival and then I'll quit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, one more day. Oh, but then tomorrow's a raining day. That I'm gonna have so much time to do this other thing I needed to do now.
Oh, wait, raining? I need to go get this one fish for the community center.
Exactly.
I will say it definitely, Stardew Valley has more, I guess, quote unquote, goals for you than this. You kind of have, hey, this person wants 5 turnips in 5 days. So you have to plant your turnips and then take them and you'll get money or whatever. So I didn't really see anything like that. Again, we didn't get very far in.
Well, what's funny is literally today I got to a part where the mayor was like, I need 3 turnips for the cooking festival. Can you have them to me by this day?
Oh, okay. So yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure.
Okay, well that makes sense that they would have it in this game as well. But I just feel like Stardew, you get a lot more information. You have access to a lot more of your like skill levels and stuff. You like not having an energy bar necessarily is very strange. Like you go to the spa, you can refill it, but when is it done?
Yeah, so apparently according to the manual, you had to stay in the hot tub for at least an hour for it to be to have any effect on you, and then you can stay in longer to then fully recharge you.
Okay. But again, you wouldn't know that unless you looked up the manual or followed a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, I've had enough of this. Let's get to our scores. So I will go first because I'm sure you will both be more positive than me. My bias of hating this kind of game aside, I can acknowledge that this game does a lot of things well, but it's still very primitive, and there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed, which will be fixed in a game that's not Harvest Moon. So at the end of the day, I think it's a fine game, but it is a chore to play, especially with the speeds of some things, and just overall, I think I'm going to go with a 6.
Okay. I mean, honestly, that's higher than I thought you were going to go.
I mean, it's like you with Armored Core. Like, I got to acknowledge that it's not a horrible game. It's just not what I like. So I'm knocking the things that I know it does wrong for sure. But I can't just be like, I hate farming games, 3 out of 10.
So for me, it's like we said, I always knew this was inspiration from Concerned Ape for Stardew Valley. Didn't realize that he just stole the game and made it better. Anyone who would want to play this game, just play Stardew Valley. You're going to have a much better time. You're going to have more fun, and it's just going to be an overall more enjoyable moment for you. But with all that said, I think it's interesting, and it was nice to play the original idea, like where all this came from. But there's a lot of flaws that you can't ignore. So I was just going to go with a 7, which was on the lower end of my range.
And I, have to think about it like for the time, this was probably as good as it was going to get. 20 years later, of course, something better and more improved comes along. But just thinking about like for the time, if it was 2000, I'm playing this game, it probably would have been next level, So I'm going to give it an 8 just for, you have to, like I said, I looked at it from 2000s. It was good for the time. In their defense, there probably wasn't a whole lot they could do to improve it at the time. Things weren't, fleshed out like that yet. So
you don't have to change your score, but I want to say that we are rating it for now. Like, we're not taking the nostalgia into account as much. Like that, the point of this show is like we're playing these now.
You could have told me that before I gave my rating.
I thought you knew that.
No. No, I'm leaving it. I'll leave it at an 8 because not doing nostalgic value. I was just saying in general, I'm not going to say it holds up, but you can definitely see where improvements have come from.
And I think to go off of that, you have a good point that the hardware limitations of what they had and how much is actually in this game, you can see why they had to cut a lot of corners on a lot of stuff. I think if they didn't make it 3D and they kept it 2D, you would have saved on a lot of those resources to make an even better game. And it's just like, just because you can go to 3D now doesn't mean you should. You could have kept to your roots.
I also wanted to say, this came out in the year 2000. Like, this is like the PS2 is out.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why they either just didn't go full 3D or stay completely 2D. That we have this weird middle ground here, which, at this point, games have evolved so far past this that I'm not sure what the logic was there. But regardless, we got our scores. So,
Mhm. And you said a 6, right, Jimmy?
yes.
Okay. So that gives us an average score of 7.
I feel like that's fair.
Got an interesting tie here as well.
Oh, no. Actually, this isn't that bad. So we're tied with Armored Core and Chocobo Racing. For me, personally, I'd go in between the two.
I completely agree with you. I think that's fair.
I just, with the amount of work that Armored Core has so many more features and things you could do. It just is a more fleshed out game, while this technically is kind of fleshed out, but it just is missing a lot.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And obviously, I like Armored Core much more than this game, but that comes down to personal preference, I think, between the two of us. So to have these both at 7, a game that you really like and then a game that I really like, but you didn't like. So it kind of all makes sense and evens itself out.
Yeah. And so that will put it at number 12.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Amanda.
Thank you for having me.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching or listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as give us a rating on podcast services. We'll see you next week.